Imagine a town bustling with thousands of people, families sharing dinners, kids playing in the streets, the familiar hum of daily life. Now, imagine waking up one morning to find that entire town, every single man, woman, and child has vanished without a trace. Thousands live here, and by the next morning, not a single soul remained. This is the chilling mystery of Roanoke, a story that has baffled historians and paranormal investigators for centuries. What happened to the lost colony? Let's delve into one of the oldest and most haunting disappearances in American history. The year is 1587. Over 100 English settlers, led by Governor John White, land on Roanoke Island, off the coast of what is now North Carolina. They were full of hope, ready to build a new life in a new world. They constructed homes, planted crops, and established a functioning community. Letters sent back to England spoke of the challenges, sure, but also of determination and the promise of a future. They weren't just colonists, they were pioneers. The colony even saw the birth of Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the Americas. Life was tough, but it was happening. They interacted with the local Native American tribes, sometimes peacefully, sometimes with tension, but they were surviving. For 3 years, this small English outpost clung to a precarious existence on the edge of a vast, unknown continent. Then, things started to get strange. According to local Native American legends passed down through generations, the nights on Roanoke Island grew unnerving. Strange lights were seen flickering in the woods, where no settler would dare venture after dark. Unearthly whispers and disembodied voices were said to drift on the sea breeze, chilling anyone who heard them. Livestock, crucial for the colony's survival, began to disappear. At first, it was a chicken here, a goat there, blamed on natural predators. But soon, larger animals vanished from their pens overnight, with no signs of a struggle, no tracks, no blood. The colonists, already on edge from dwindling supplies and strained relations with some local tribes, grew more fearful. The very air seemed to crackle with an unseen malevolent energy. Was it paranoia, born from isolation and hardship? Or was something truly sinister unfolding in the shadows of the Outer Banks? In late 1587, with supplies dangerously low, Governor John White made the difficult decision to sail back to England to gather more resources. He left behind his daughter, his granddaughter Virginia Dare, and the entire colony, promising to return within months. But his return was delayed, catastrophically, by a war between England and Spain. For 3 long, agonizing years, White was stranded, unable to get a ship back to his family and his people. When he finally landed back on Roanoke Island in August of 1590, on his granddaughter's 3rd birthday, he was met with a scene of absolute, deafening silence. The settlement was gone. Not destroyed, not burned, but deserted.
The homes he had helped build stood empty, eerily intact. The streets he once walked were now reclaimed by weeds. Doors creaked open to reveal abandoned rooms, tables set for meals that were never eaten. Personal belongings left as if their owners had just stepped out for a moment. There were no signs of a battle, no bodies, no graves. It was as if more than 100 people had simply been erased from existence. The only clue, the only message left behind, was a single word carved into a wooden post of the fort's palisade. Croatoan.
Another carving, Crow, was found on a nearby tree. The authorities at the time, and later historians, were stumped. A formal investigation was launched, but it yielded more questions than answers. What did Croatoan mean? It was the name of a nearby island, now known as Hatteras Island, and also the name of the friendly Native American tribe that inhabited it. The most logical theory was that the colonists, facing starvation, had simply relocated and integrated with the Croatoan people. This seemed plausible. Before he left, White had instructed the colonists to carve a Maltese cross if they were forced to leave in distress. No cross was found, suggesting their departure was planned and not under duress. Yet this theory didn't quite add up. If they had moved, why didn't they leave a more detailed message? Why abandon their heavy possessions, their homes, their very infrastructure. And most puzzlingly, why did no one from the colony ever re-emerge? Extensive searches of Croatoan Island and the mainland in the years that followed turned up nothing.
No definitive English artifacts, no graves, no one who could say, "Yes, we are the descendants of the Roanoke settlers." It was a dead end. The entire population had been swallowed by the American wilderness, leaving behind only a whisper of a name. Over the centuries, countless theories have been proposed, each trying to solve the unsolvable. Some believe the colonists were wiped out by a hostile tribe, though the lack of bodies or signs of a fight makes this unlikely. Others suggest they fell victim to a devastating disease that swept through the settlement, forcing the survivors to scatter. Another theory posits that they attempted to sail back to England on their own in a small boat and were lost at sea. These are all rational explanations, but they don't quite fit the bizarre, almost supernatural silence that befell the colony. This is where the story takes a darker, more speculative turn. Could the strange lights and whispers have been real? Some modern theorists point to alien abduction, suggesting a mass extraterrestrial event. It sounds like science fiction, but for some, it's the only explanation that fits the utter lack of physical evidence. Others look to the legends of the land itself. Was there a curse on the island, a vengeful spirit of the New World that consumed the intruders? The name Croatoan itself has been reinterpreted by some in the paranormal community as not just a place, but a word of power, a key to whatever dark force claimed the colonists. The clues just don't add up. Journals found in other settlements from that period mention rumors and third-hand accounts, but nothing concrete. Letters are filled with speculation. Archaeological digs have found pottery and a few artifacts, but nothing that tells a definitive story of their final days. The marks on the post and tree, Croatoan and CRO, are the most solid pieces of evidence, and yet they are the most ambiguous. Was it a destination, a warning, the name of their killer? Every clue is a breadcrumb that leads only to another mystery.
It is a 400-year-old cold case where the crime scene is an entire island and the victims are a whole society. And then there's the final twist. A story, more legend than fact, but one that sends a shiver down the spine. It's said that years later, a weathered journal was discovered, purportedly belonging to one of the Roanoke colonists, hidden within the walls of an old North Carolina home. The journal allegedly chronicled the colony's final terrifying days. It spoke not of relocation, but of a descent into madness. The whispers from the woods became commands. The colonists turned on each other, driven by a paranoia that felt like a sickness. The journal described the dark entity, a Wendigo or skinwalker, from Native American lore, a creature that could steal a person's soul and wear their skin. The final, near illegible entry described the entity being among them, inside the walls, wearing the face of a friend. The last words were a panicked scribble. "It is not my wife." The journal, if it ever existed, was lost to time, but its story lingers, adding a terrifying layer of folk horror to the historical mystery. So, what really happened to the lost colony of Roanoke? Were they assimilated, murdered, or lost at sea? Or did they fall prey to something far older and more malevolent, a darkness that was waiting for them in the New World? The carved word Croatoan remains the only testament to their fate, a silent monument to 100 souls who stepped off the map of history and into the realm of legend.
The mystery endures, a chilling reminder that some questions may never be answered. Thanks for joining me on this journey into one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. If you have your own theories about the lost colony, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to read what you think. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the unknown. Until next time, stay curious.